They love Big George.
It's exactly what we were talking about. When it comes to somebody fighting for a title, they have to bring in people, and you know the public loves George.
I expect you to obey my commands at all times. Shake hands, good luck.
And once again, Richard Steele, the main man in the ring. Richard Steele, you'll recall, had difficulty a few months back bringing himself to stop the Jimmy Ellis fight, as Foreman would pound away at Ellis and step back, inviting Steele to bring an end to it. And Steele, who has, of course, been criticized heavily in the past for stopping fights, notably Razor Ruddock versus Mike Tyson #1, and Meldrick Taylor versus Julio Cesar Chavez. Round 1 of 10. And Foreman, according to Larry Merchant, must step forward immediately and try to make Stewart remember his bad moments against Tyson and Moorer.
The key is going to be to see how Stewart handles that jab.
The test of any theory, anything you hope to do, is what happens when you get hit. Do you revert or do you fight in the way you plan to fight?
And Alex Stewart already seems to be shying away from the Foreman jab, Gil.
He's going to have to slip that jab and counter George Foreman. If he's going to continue to be tentative, it could be a short fight.
What is George's most effective punch?
His left jab by far is his best punch.
How does it rank among left jabs of all time in the heavyweight division?
I would say that George Foreman's jab is just about the tops, along with Sonny Liston's two best jabs in the heavyweight division.
But it wasn't that good when he was young.
Midway through round 1, and Stewart is beginning to cover up and not fire back very often. He tries to throw jabs, but he has not been able to slip the jab and connect as you suggested he had to, Gil.
He has to take the initiative. He has to throw some combinations. If he continues to be tentative, he's not going to give George Foreman anything to worry about at all. And right now, George is imposing his will on Alex Stewart.
Has there ever been a more relaxed fighter in the ring than George Foreman?
This is the new George Foreman. He's the most relaxed guy in the world. That was his problem. The old George Foreman couldn't relax, didn't know how to relax.
George Foreman looking for all the world like a man mowing his lawn on Saturday afternoon, stepping forward and popping the jab over and over into the face of Alex Stewart.
And Stewart has not thrown a meaningful punch since the fight started. He just can't loosen up. There he goes. He finally threw a right hand.
And was a little short with the right.
But at least he threw it, Jim. You hate to see a guy go out there and don't offer any opposition at all.
And now Alex begins to get busy with the jab, and George tries to land over the top with a second-class male right hand that was about a week late in getting there.
And up to this point, Stewart has not been able to handle George Foreman's jab. George is scoring a lot of points with that jab. There's a combination by Stewart.
Good 1-2 punch by Stewart. The right hand over the top landed, and it suddenly energized Foreman, who danced away.
Gil, I want to disagree with you a little. I think that Stewart's jab is bothering George. He's hit him 7 or 8 jabs that I think have bothered him.
This bell is early, isn't it? No? All right.
Boxing like a champ.
Beautiful.
Champ. Take the jab, break, move, magnify him. He's right there in front of you. Slip, hit, break him. Use your leg sometime. Never stand in front of the guy unless you're doing something. Your jab is terrific. I love you. Love you. Taking care of business. Okay.
Let's take a look. There's George's jab. Two jabs back to back that land.
Alex, that's a defense.
And George trying to throw one over him and then landing a right at the end of a combination that shocked George a bit, send him reeling back.
Actually sandwiched 2 rights around the left hand, did Alex Stewart.
Let's see if Stewart can maintain his poise or whether that round gives him some courage.
That's what Stewart needs. He has to believe in himself in this fight. Has to be able to jump on George.
You saw, of course, that 43-year-old George Foreman stood between rounds, as has been his custom throughout the comeback career. Low blow. Richard Steele says nothing about it, and Stewart goes down. It was a little right hand.
Didn't seem to me like a very hard punch at all. And George told us he wasn't going to try to punch hard with the right hand. He's going to bring him with the right hand into that left hand.
He caught him after the low blow. I think Stewart relaxed after that, maybe expecting the official to take some action.
Another low blow.
Low blow, yes. And this time Richard Steele steps in.
And they are definitely low blows. They're hard low blows.
And George with a flailing right hand, indicating that maybe he thinks he's got Stewart hurt and ready for some real serious
Stewart
business.
is going to have to get George's attention.
And he did. 2 left hands, Gil, right on the kisser. Just misses with another left, but George comes back.
Stewart still is not fighting with any confidence at all. He's being mugged right now.
Another right hand and another knockdown. Remember that the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. So now George Foreman will have about 1 minute and 15 seconds in which to try to bring matters to a close with one more Alex Stewart knockdown.
And the way Stewart is not offering any opposition, I look for that knockdown.
I just don't think he takes a punch all that well, Gil. Or maybe he freezes against power punches. Larry Merchant made the point earlier, some fighters just have a different psyche when they go into the ring against a big puncher. Stewart landing a right hand up the side of Foreman's head. Foreman continues to bear in. And George is rocked. The damage is momentary. Foreman with 28 seconds and still a chance to bring matters to a close.
No holding, no holding. Punch it out.
Well, I would like to see Stewart survive this round.
Stewart landing twice in close against Foreman. And he makes it out of the round.
I don't want to question that man's courage anymore, Alex Stewart.
Do what you gotta do. It's high, Alex. It's not. You're gonna beat him. You can beat this guy, baby. He's tired. This man is dead tired, Alex. You took his best. Don't worry about this.
Beautiful, Alex. Beautiful.
Take a deep one.
They're shaking the shit out of him.
All right, let's see what did the damage here. There's a right to the neck. I don't know if that was the power of that punch or it simply knocked the man over who had already been hurt. There you see the straight right hand at the end of the round. That definitely was right on target.
On that first knockdown, if you mentioned if he had been hurt earlier, he was hurt by a low blow.
Punch stat numbers through round number 2 have George Foreman landing 61% of all punches, 73% of his jabs. So Stewart hasn't been able to stop him. But Stewart has been landing with a high rate of accuracy also when he is able to get himself to throw.
When he throws punches, that's good. That is the key with Stewart. He has to believe in himself.
You heard trainer Jimmy Williams in Stewart's corner saying, "You've taken the best he has to offer." I'm not really sure that's true, Gil. Another good blow for Stewart.
He didn't seem to be hit that hard with either of the punches to put him down. But he went down twice.
George's nose and mouth area are reddened. I've never seen that before.
He's taking a lot more punishment here than he has in any fight in the comeback other than the Holyfield battle. Jerry Cooney hit him a few times.
You know, if you remember in the Moore fight, Stewart was down twice early, but then came back fighting. Maybe once he gets hit on the chin, it loosens him up a little bit.
Well, he's not without heart, that's for sure. Showed great heart against Holyfield when he went into the 8th round with a bloody cut. Streaming blood through most of the fight.
Well, he's been cut in this fight. Got hit with a good right hand. That was the best right hand of the fight, but he didn't go down.
Caught it on the point of the chin, was staggered, but stayed on his feet.
And Al Gavin did a good job on that cut over Stewart's right eye in the 2nd round.
Foreman staggering a little bit as he moves in and throws. Stewart still having trouble getting out of the way. There's the telephone pole jab again.
And again, Stewart is standing dead still. He's in against a very slow guy. He should be moving a little bit.
But he's landing some counters when George misses. And if he can keep that up, he may yet be able to turn the tide of the bout.
George is trying to suck Stewart into one big punch. And George is really tired. Hands it down, missing punches.
Keep him up, Alex. Keep him up.
Both fighters very tired as we come to the end of round 3. We told you in the middleweight championship bout how soft the surface is under the ring canvas. And it's an 18-foot ring only, which makes it a lot easier for George to find Alex Stewart. And now Richard Steele wants timeout to put the mouthpiece back into Stewart's mouth. First he takes him to a neutral corner, then he takes him to Foreman's corner.
And now he's going to take him to his own corner.
Well, that's 3 out of 4. If he goes to the other one, he'll have to introduce him to George, who is standing and watching the whole thing.
And George appears to be almost gasping for breath as he waited in the corner.
Well, he got a little rest against those ropes.
I think they're both getting awfully leg tired on this mattress they're fighting on.
That's a very good point, Jim. Very difficult to fight on a soft canvas.
Right.
When you go to the right, that boy throwing over. That boy throwing over here, right. You go under, you counter it like you count so good.
Don't blow your nose, whatever you do, okay?
Good.
Now stop walking straight in, move over. Keep popping him with the jab, okay? Don't stand right in front of the guy. You know what I mean? Okay, gotcha.
You and me talking.
You and me, baby. Move over. You know what I mean, George? Don't be straight away, okay, son? Don't be straight.
So throw your punches straight. Okay, you're doing beautiful, baby. I love it. You can beat this guy.
They won that round tonight. They took him.
Okay, but
He's exhausted.
you're getting exhausted, baby.
Harold, how do you have the fight?
Larry, 3-0, 30-25. George Foreman. Again, George, an extra point for each of the 2 knockdowns. But oh boy, this is a great fight. Alex Stewart showed he can stand in there and take Foreman's best shots, and he's holding his own in round 3. I think he's going to come back.
I liked Angelo Dundee calling George son.
Isn't that something? I was just thinking, he may be the only man in boxing who can get away with calling George son, and it sounds legit.
And Angelo's old enough to call George son. Now, I'd like to see Alex Stewart go to the body a little bit with George, because George was really showing signs of being tired.
I think he read your mind just as you were saying it, Gil. Stewart tried 2 parries to the body.
And George has a mouse under his right eye, a serious mouse.
Let's see if George has the energy and the presence of mind to follow Dundee's instructions to move to the side. And so far, he hasn't been able to do it. He is still right in front of Alex Stewart, Gil, and taking a lot of punishment because of it.
Taking a lot of punishment this round. I haven't seen George take this much punishment in any fight in a long, long time.
And Stewart is fighting a very disciplined fight, Gil. Something
Yes.
we didn't think he could do.
He is, and he's paying attention to his corner, just threw a couple of pretty good body shots. And he has George's eye close to closing.
You talk about a career resuscitation. If Alex Stewart could score a victory over George Foreman, he'd have new life.
Again, Stewart has to get off first a little more often. He waits to see what George is going to do all the time.
We saw a journeyman named Bert Cooper revive his career in a losing performance against champion Evander Holyfield. Stewart is certainly earning some credibility here.
Well, he has to throw more punches, though, Jim. He still waits for George. Waiting for George.
And the big jab continues to take its toll for Foreman.
Looks to me like he can hit George with that jab almost at will.
He sure can. He just landed 3 straight jabs on the eyes of Foreman, but now he's momentarily stunned by another left hand. George puts his hands at his side and talks to photographers at ringside while Stewart hits him.
I don't think I've ever seen that in a fight before, even from Muhammad Ali.
Larry, yes, in the Larry Holmes fight with Ray Mercer, he stopped and talked to the cameraman during one of the rounds.
Well, if Stewart keeps hitting George like this, the big man won't have much to talk about tonight. This has been a very good round, particularly the last minute for Alex Stewart.
I think this has been a big round for Alex Stewart.
And with each passing minute, he's learning more about what he can do pretty easily against Big George. Like that right hand right there. He's got to stop eating the jab, though.
Alex Stewart wants to extend this fight in the hopes of getting Foreman tired. That could be the first brick in a road to a victory.
Shut up, shut up. Number 5 coming up. Yeah, right here. Right there. How about a rinse? Rinse? No, I'm not doing it. Okay, good round coming up. Say what you're going to say and be done.
Watch Alex Stewart, never known for a jab, but he's thrown a bunch of them here. There he throw a 1-2, a right, followed by a left. There's a left, followed by a right. That was short. More jabs. Stiff, hard jabs. And George is talking to the photographer, ignoring Stewart. Why didn't he jump on him with about 6 punches there?
Round 5, maybe farther than George Foreman wanted to go in this battle with Alex Stewart, live from the Thomas Mack Center in Las Vegas.
And George is really angry because his cornerman tried to give him advice. He told him to shut up.
74th fight of George Foreman's career. I think what he wants over there in the corner, Gil, is for Dundee and Dundee only to be talking to him.
Well, that's the way it should be. One man should do the talking. Again, Stewart keeps waiting for Foreman to lead. He has to take the initiative himself a lot more often in this fight, and he can do it.
When he does take the initiative, particularly stepping straight forward with the jab, he's causing George a lot of trouble.
And he's landing almost at will.
But Stewart continues to eat Foreman's jab, and he can't do that indefinitely and keep standing up, Gil. Straight right hand, got through the guard for Stewart. Foreman looking a little bit more patient, less frustrated than in the last round.
And George is looking a little tired to me right now, Jim. The mouth is wide open. You can see he's gasping for breath.
And he's angry as well.
Which could make him more tired, Larry. But also could make him more dangerous.
Left jab right on the face by Alex Stewart. The mouse is very prominent under George Foreman's right eye. If it opens up, it might be tough to get it closed again. Stewart now targeting that mouse with the left.
And Stewart standing, still taking punishment. Why? Why? He just keeps watching George, letting George get off. He's being led by George Foreman. I know it's a big task, but if I was in Stewart's corner, I'd tell him next round, go out and back that big guy up. I don't think George can fight backing up.
You know, the left hand never really loses its snap for George, Gil, but it looks to me like a big indicator of when George is tired is when the right hand begins to come slow motion. And now he takes straight rights on the face from Alex Stewart.
And here, Stewart hit him with a good right hand, nailed him pretty good, and did not follow it up.
Well, Alex Stewart, as we told you before the fight, has never been in a bout that went the distance and was given to the judges for a decision. But he told us he was ready to try to do that tonight for the first time in his career. And maybe he can fulfill that prophecy.
Got it right here.
I got it. Alex, beautiful, baby. Beautiful.
Don't stand on the rope, baby. Don't.
Nice and easy. There's your easy, son. Don't blow your nose.
Oh, there it is.
Right hand.
Okay,
When he moves to his right.
Right hand hard around the side, left hook to the head. Get close enough and burn it with it.
Okay.
Good and smart.
And watch Stewart here as he weaves and tries to come up with some punches from a low angle, and Foreman's going to try to uppercut him sooner or later. He did later. One thing I heard in Alex Stewart's corner, they're talking already about the closing eyes of George Foreman, and he's being told now to start to throw some hooks to get to those eyes.
And in George's corner, you know, it's very difficult to work on a man when he stands between rounds, as George does. They did not use the end swell on George's eyes. His eyes are puffing and they're closing. Again, he should be sitting down in the corner, and they should be paying attention to those bruised eyes.
Well, you see the slugfest we have underway here, as halfway through the bout, both fighters are landing more than half of their blows.
But that's what Stewart has to do. He has to take the initiative. He just doesn't do it enough.
Failure to use the end swell on the cut under Foreman's eye. Shades of Mike Tyson in Tokyo, where that eye swelled up and partially debilitated him.
That's correct.
Will Dundee ask George to sit on a stool so they can do better work on the cut?
Well, I think he should. But, you know, it's difficult working with George. He's nice to be in charge of everything himself.
Jimmy Williams is right. Both eyes are closing on Foreman. Stewart's got a big chance here now.
And George is trying to dance now. He's trying to get some life into himself.
He knows that Alex Stewart is landing at will, and the time may be running out on the second career of Big George Foreman. Right hand over the top lands for Stewart. Crowd tries to get Foreman going, chanting, George, George, George. 3 straight blows directly on the face by Stewart. Foreman less and less aggressive as round 6 goes on.
Well, that's what Stewart has to do. He has to take that initiative, get off first. Keeps waiting for George. Now he's loosening up a little bit and becoming a lot more effective.
Remember that Alex Stewart was floored twice in the second round. Since that time, he has built an increasing crescendo, tattooing George Foreman with rights and lefts.
They're going to have to do something with those eyes as George Foreman.
I've never seen him look like that.
I don't think they'll stand up another 4 rounds. That's what Stewart has to do. Punch to that body, sets up those head blows.
Well, we've all seen the moment in the Rocky movie, Gil, when Burgess Meredith slices open the mouth to allow the blood to flow out.
That's only in the movies, Jim.
We won't see that here. But they've got to sit him down and use the iron end swell on him to have any chance of getting that swelling down. Alex Stewart has a big chance.
On what?
They get a steal on that.
They put a stool in the corner, but George won't sit down, at least not yet. Angelo Dundee just asked for the end swell, and there it is.
You got to start coming up with your shots off your jab. You got to start coming up. You get over the top.
After you finish jabbing, he duck. I know. Come over right here. Okay. Come over up on either side. Right up.
Harold Harold, how do you have the score now quickly?
Larry, 4-2, 58-54, George Foreman. Certainly those 2 knockdowns in round 2 are hurting Alex Stewart in the scoring, and you got to wonder, even though he's got the momentum, if he can overcome the big early lead of George Foreman. It's going to be close.
All right, we briefly saw the end swell there, Gil. Tell us what it is and what it does.
Well, actually, the end swell is not a miracle drug. It's an ice-cold piece of metal that you put on a swelling to bring the swelling down. I'm surprised that they didn't use it for the entire 50 seconds that they had. Angelo only used it a few seconds on each swelling. I don't think it did much good at all.
No, but that low blow might help out. It helped to set up the knockdowns in round number 2. Richard Steele once again stepped in and warned George against any more low blows. It's got to be increasingly difficult for Foreman to sight the target now as those eyes swell up.
Again, Stewart is back into the waiting mode again. When he does that, he allows George to be in the fight.
In round 6, George Foreman did not land a power punch. He punches Stewart on the hip there, and Stewart looks to referee Richard Steele.
At which point does the referee finally say, George, you can't do that anymore. That's 4 low blows.
Again, Stewart just does not have enough confidence to jump on George the way he should. Now he should jump on him again. Throw that second combination.
Stewart is landing at will. He just needs to put more punches together. George Foreman was within 1 knockdown of an easy second-round knockout of Alex Stewart in round number 2. He may lie awake tonight regretting his failure to get that done with 1.5 minutes of time in which to produce knockdown number 3.
Again, Stewart waits for George to lead every single time.
Well, it's time to say to all you George Foreman fans, remember well the glorious night of April 19, 1991, when he went 12 rounds with Evander Holyfield in a valiant effort. More and more, it looks as though that will be the only title shot for Foreman in this love affair comeback career that began in 1987. Now more than ever, he looks like an old man in trouble. Round 7 coming to a close. Foreman missing wildly with the left. A curious round in which Stewart has his advantage and doesn't seem willing enough to press it until right now at the end of the round.
Deep breath, George. Take a good deep breath, son.
You have to keep him up, George. You got to keep him up.
Okay.
Drop in your knees with him.
Moving your head and you can't hit you.
Move that head.
Don't touch her. It's all
Okay,
right.
okay, all right.
The jab and moving your head, baby, and you'll be the winner tonight.
Take a deep one back.
All Stewart is doing is following his corner's instructions, Gil. They're telling him to jab, jab, jab.
Well, again, I would tell him to jump on George and take the initiative. He's not fighting a George Foreman of even a year ago. He's fighting now a guy that looks like he took that, maybe that final walk up into the ring. But Stewart doesn't realize it. He keeps waiting to see what George is going to do. Look at him standing still, waiting for George to lead.
Well, but then you have to say the corner doesn't realize it either, and they're supposed to be his extra eyes.
Well, that's correct. Again, it's a difference of opinion. I would have him really taking off on George now, taking over.
Watch your head.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. If there's still a fear in Alex Stewart's heart of the big knockout punch that Foreman harbors, then no amount of talking from his corner men is going to get him to step inside with resolution time and time again.
But George, Jim, they're not telling him to do that. They're telling him to box and jab. Now is the time where he has to throw some power punches and take over, as he did at the very end of the last round.
The last 10 seconds of round 7 were the most decisive moments of the fight for Alex Stewart. Punch stat numbers through round 7 show that for the first time in the bout, Stewart has now thrown and landed more punches than George Foreman.
And Stewart is tired as well, you know.
A couple of very tired heavyweights pounding away. Foreman, sensing a chance, tries to move forward.
Again, Stewart's waiting. He's waiting for the punch. Keep waiting for it. He's going to get hit with it.
A roundhouse right lands for Stewart. Foreman fires a left. Crowd on its feet.
Let's go.
There's the uppercut that Angelo called for, to throw that punch up. And he did, and he landed it.
Stewart momentarily punch drunk. Foreman trying to find him through blurry vision.
And Stewart fights better when he's hurt, Jim. He doesn't have time to think. He fights on instinct. And that's when he's at his best.
Come on, go to corner. Go to corner. Time, go to corner.
Time out again by Richard Steele. Foreman gets a chance to rest. Stewart gets a chance to regain his composure. The crowd gets a chance to boo.
Harold. Richard Steele is supposed to put that mouthpiece back during a lull in the action, and I want to tell you, that was no lull in the action. He took away Foreman's advantage when he did that.
I think that's a little questionable. I thought there was at least a small lull in the action.
Again, Stewart fights better when he fights on instinct, when he doesn't have time to watch George to see what he's going to do.
How many more chances will Big George have? Might that have been the last big opportunity to sustain his career?
It's up to Stewart.
Foreman's wife, Joan, watching at ringside. She has been open in her demand that he take care of business or retire.
After she looks at his face after this fight, she may tell him to retire right now, win or lose.
We only got 2 rounds to go, baby. Only 2 rounds to go.
Alex, hang in there. You got him.
6 minutes. That's all. I know you can make 6 minutes. Okay, let me hold it. You got your mouthpiece out? Okay.
Stay still.
Take a deep one.
Alex, you've got to use the left hand as he's coming.
The body gave up 90. Mine got to take over, Alex. The mind.
Jab. Deep breath. Deep breath.
Ho, ho, ho.
Beautiful. Now we separate the guys, right? Deep breath. Give me enough.
Come here,
Let's watch what George is trying to do here by coming underneath, exactly as Angelo Dundina told him. But you know, we said earlier that he was getting the Hasty Pudding Club Award of Harvard in May. Right now his face looks like a pudding.
It sure does. And Stewart was very, very tired in his corner between rounds. Very tired.
Remember, he's never gone the distance.
This is the first time Alex Stewart has ever been in a round 9. But in round 8, Alex Stewart landed 61% of his punches, Foreman 57%. They're just firing away at each other.
Well, the reason they're landing so many punches, Jim, is because they're both dead tired. Neither guy can avoid a punch. And whoever gets off first is the guy that's landing.
So what would you tell Foreman to do to try to go for the knockout here?
I think Angelo gave him good advice. Show him the jab and then bring those punches up. And again, if I was in Stewart's corner, I'd tell him to get off first, which he hasn't been doing.
By bring the punches up, you mean the uppercut?
Uppercut from underneath. And he almost had Stewart out in that last round with those 2 uppercuts.
And what do you tell Alex Stewart to do? Certainly not this.
No, get off first and try to back George up. He can do it.
Crowd begins to come alive again. They'll chant George, George, George in these last 2
now
rounds.
Stewart should jump right on him again. He landed a good solid punch, and instead he backs up.
Yep.
Step back. Watch your head.
Stewart again.
George is bleeding profusely, either from the mouth or the nose after that last barrage.
I think it's the left side of the nose. Yep. and the mouth. Both mouth and nose, Larry. The blood dripping on the canvas now.
And Stewart just is not throwing enough punches.
And the blood is just pouring out of that wound.
Yeah, it looks as though George might have gotten a cut inside the mouth.
I don't know why an old man would want to take this punishment. Maybe it's $5 million. And a dream.
The only defensible reason.
Stewart just is not getting over any big punches.
Solid right hand by Alex Stewart, and now the uppercut. Foreman has never shown any inclination to go down to the canvas, but he's taking more and more brutal punishment with each passing minute.
Let him up, let him up. Right, step back.
And George is looking to his corner for help. They can't help him now.
Come on, work. Don't hold him, right, step back. Watch down, ball.
George is almost choking on his blood.
What about the blood on Alex Stewart's right eye?
And I have blood on my score sheet. And my shirt.
Two grotesque masks as we ready for round 10.
The guy walked
And a good thing that it is only 10 for
The
George.
guy's dizzy. He walked.
Just the doctor. Can you breathe out there?
And Dr. Hamansky's coming into the ring to examine George Foreman.
You all right, son?
The guy walked in the wrong corner.
All right.
Okay, mouthpiece. Open your mouth wide. Hey, the guy walked in the wrong. No.
Look here.
Alex,
Let
this
the mind
is your
take over.
fight.
This is
Please.
your fight.
You're mine. Jamaica, you. Tennille, your wife, everything now.
Right in this fight. This for your baby.
Side to side.
I'll tell you, this one.
Okay, Richard.
Okay, let's go.
Both corners flogging their fighters like jockeys. In Stewart's corner, they're telling him this is everything for his family and his baby. And in Foreman's corner, Angelo is telling him that the doctor came into the wrong corner, not his corner.
Harold, how do you have it scored?
Jim, 86-83, 5 rounds to 4, favor George Foreman. The difference in the fight is still a 3-point round in round 2 where George Foreman scored 2 knockdowns. I think it's going to kill Alex Stewart in the scoring.
You gave him a 10-7 round there. It's conceivable some of the judges gave him 10-8.
Correct. Could very well be.
I should tell you, I have it much closer.
It's one of the great legends in the history of boxing. It's extended over 24 years. Remember the little American flags in the ring in Mexico City in '68? The love affair began then. It extended all the way to Zaire in 1974 when Foreman lost to the biggest figure in the sport, Muhammad Ali. Then the 10-year retirement. Then the comeback. Then the championship fight with Holyfield, and now this.
I don't know why Stewart is not throwing more punches in this round. It's the last round of the fight. He should be flinging. He's allowing George to take the lead, throw the punches again.
Another low blow.
And that may cost George a
And
point.
Steele takes a point away.
In my opinion, that makes this a dead even fight. And if Stewart can win this round, I think that he may possibly get this decision.
A very tired Alex Stewart bending all the way over in front of us, heaving to try to catch his breath.
And Richard Steele is telling him, take his time, take his time.
Foreman staggers from corner to corner across the ring. Harold.
Say that a fighter who is hit with a low blow must continue after a reasonable amount of time. So Richard Steele can give him as much time as he needs to get ready, but Alex Stewart has to continue. He can't win on a low blow.
And here they come. The delay was no more than 30 to 45 seconds. Stewart with a left to the top of Foreman's head. And another, and another. Foreman lands a left. But George's punches have no snap now, Gil. He's just pawing it there.
Big right hand by Stewart. He has such a tired man in front of him now. He should really be getting off.
There's another mouthpiece on the canvas. Again, it belongs to Alex Stewart. Richard Steele.
George has no legs at all. He's fighting on hard alone.
And Stewart fights without a mouthpiece, and Steele shows no inclination to stop it one more time.
Last round, make it 3, make it 3.
If Joan Foreman is a woman of her word, you are looking at what might be the last 30 seconds of George Foreman's career.
Gentlemen, George Foreman is a popular figure. He did have 2 knockdowns in 1 round. He may very well get the decision. I gave the fight to Alex Stewart by 1 point.
I don't like the cup of plea. I scored the fight dead even. I gave Foreman a 2-point round in knockdowns. I think the point that Richard Steele took away from George in the last round made this a dead even fight.
And that leaves it to you, Harold.
Well, Jim, I've got it 5 rounds to 5, 94-93, favorite George Foreman. That 10-7 round in the second round, the 2 knockdowns on my scorecard killed Alex Stewart. He couldn't make it up. It was as simple as that. I gave Alex Stewart that extra point in round 10 when Steele pulled the point. It was a 10-8 round in the 10th, but still in all, George Foreman by 1 point, even in rounds.
So just for the sake of argument, gentlemen, among Harold Letterman, Larry Merchant, and Gil Clancy, we have at ringside a draw. Would a draw end George Foreman's career, Larry?
Very likely, because it would probably postpone any opportunity for him to get another shot at the title.
Is it even possible with a victory that he could get another shot?
Well, I don't think it sustains his argument, and it certainly won't sustain his argument against his wife.
And we are ready right now for a moment of drama, perhaps the culmination of a 24-year legend. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer to find out who won this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Thomas Mack Center, by way of the Las Vegas Hilton, we go to the scorecards. But first, how about a round of applause for these 2 heavyweights in the ring here tonight. Here's the official scoring. Patricia Jarman scores the bout 94-94. Art Laurie scores the bout 94-93. And Dalby Shirley scores it 94-93 for the winner on a majority decision. Big George Foreman.
Well, Gil, you've got a feel for Alex Stewart, who may be thinking at this moment that he can't get a break in his life.
Well, I don't know. You have to make your own breaks at some time in life. I thought Alex had the opportunity. I thought he fought a lot too tentatively in this fight. He gave George Foreman a lot too much respect.
Who takes the blame, Stewart or his corner?
Well, ultimately, the corner should take the blame. Their strategy was to have him box the entire way. Look, it wound up being a draw. I would have had him go for it. Go all out, win or lose.
Punch stat numbers, and you can see how remarkably even they are. Stewart landing, by our computation, 17 more punches in the bout than Foreman. He threw 35 more. Their percentages right at 55, 56%. It was the classic heavyweight, I'll stand in your face and you stand in mine slugfest, but Stewart just wasn't aggressive enough.